I'm glad you chose to practice today. Remember to like the video, subscribe, send me a comment, let me know how it goes. It would be great to hear from you. I'll see you on the mat. So whatever position you chose to start with, just take a moment to maybe find a bit more space between your ears and your shoulders, to maybe close your eyes. Appreciating that you made time and space to practice today. That took effort. So allow the practice to give something back to you. So give yourself some space, open up to maybe the practice offering you these opportunities, these questions, this exploration. Noticing that the breath is happening. And maybe adding that layer of agency over your breath, you might make it a bit longer, a bit deeper. Maybe breathing a bit more through your nose. You could think about your inhales creating space in the body. So your inhales can stretch that torso, the space between your ribs, even the belly. And then your exhale might be that softening, that relaxation, shoulders drop, everything returns towards the midline. And then knowing that after each exhale comes another inhale, that after each inhale comes another exhale. And if that first cycle didn't work that well, is another opportunity to explore a little further your breath. And as you continue breathing, you might notice that there's not only physical effects from your breath, there's also some mental, emotional effects from breathing. And breathing a bit slower, you can bring a bit more calm, you can relax a bit more the nervous system. And so if that's appropriate right now, tap into that. We'll stay for a few more breaths. And then we'll find some movement through the neck. So see if you can stay present with your breath as you find an inhale, lengthen up. Maybe your eyes open or stay closed. And then on your exhale, lower the chin towards your chest. When you're ready, take an inhale to move your right ear towards your right shoulder. Pause there for your exhale. And then come back through center. And as you inhale, take the left ear towards the left shoulder and pause there for your exhale. And then move like that a few more times from side to side. And when you feel that you've had enough, more or less even on both sides, we'll return the chin towards the chest. And then lift the chin away from the chest, eyes open if you still had them closed, and let's come onto our side body. So start on your right side. And then here we'll start with the knees bent. Think about big toe side of the feet touching, and then legs stacked one on top of the other. Find the position that is most comfortable for your right arm and your head. So maybe you are supporting your head in your hand, or maybe you're extending your arm and resting your head onto the whole arm. And then you're keeping the big toe side of your feet together, and you're going to send the left knee up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to lower it back down. Now imagine that your back body was on a wall, so keep doing this a few times. Explore, don't take it to its extreme. It's early in practice, and we're going to come back to this later. So just see where you're at now. But imagine you had a wall behind you, and you're trying to get your back body on the wall, and as you lift and lower your left knee, your back body stays in the same place. So you're not shifting your hips back and forth. You're just lifting and lowering that left knee, and the movement is coming from your left hip. So see if you can feel that. And again, don't get too caught up on how much you lift and going extra far. Yeah, just find the movement a few more times at your own pace. And then we'll do 2 more extra slow. Like slow motion. The same slow motion going down, taking the knee back, down as lifting it. All right, and then pause that. See if you can draw your left knee in towards your chest. And just give it a squeeze. You could use your left hand if you got the balance there on your side body. And then extend your left leg all the way out. Flex your foot, so draw the toes towards your shin, and then we're going to lift and lower that left leg. And again, don't go too far. Your knee and your toes are still pointing forward in the same direction as your chest is facing. And then a few times up and down. And see if your torso can stay in the same position. And even think about drawing, finding a bit of internal rotation through that left leg. So kind of your big toe trying to point down to some degree, not too much, just a bit. And still lift and lower. Find a bit more squeeze through your left glute. All right, and then release, bend the knee, and again bring it in towards your chest. Give it a squeeze. Nice job. And then again, we're going to bring the big toe side of the feet together. The knees are bent and stacked. And on the inhale, again, lift that left knee and lower, just like we were doing a moment ago, a few times. Keep coming back to your breath. And if you're finding kind of the movement is kind of trivial, not that interesting, get your brain into that left hip, into that outer hip and glute, and see if you can feel the work there, and then slow the movement down extra slow. All right, and then again, knee down and bring it into your chest. Give it a squeeze. And then extend again that left leg all the way out. This time we're going to make some circles. So it's up to you, maybe with your toes pointing away from you. And then you're going to circle. So bring that leg forward some, then up, back, and then again down, forward. So as if you were drawing circles on the wall. And then as you do this, try to keep your torso, your hips stable. So that might mean making the circles a bit smaller. And then switch direction. You might find that one direction is a bit more awkward than the other. So again, a little smaller with a circle so that you're in control of the movement. And if you had to pause at any point of this movement, you would be able to, right? So at no point the leg is dropping, or you're letting gravity or momentum take charge. And then when you're ready, lower, bring the knee again into your chest and give it a squeeze. And then we're going to come all the way onto the other side. So however you'd like to make your way there. And we're going to meet again with the knees bent and the legs stacked, big toe side of the feet touching. And then we're going to find that movement on this side. So we're going to lift that right knee and lower. And a few more times here at your own pace. And again, imagine that wall behind you. Try to get both shoulder blades on that wall, the back of your head onto the wall, the sacrum, the back of your hips onto the wall. And see if you can keep that as you find this movement through your right leg, your right hip. And then extra slow motion, going up and returning. And then return that right knee down, bring it into your chest, give it a squeeze. And then extend the leg all the way out, flex through your foot, toes towards your shin. Maybe a little internal rotation through that right leg, and then we're lifting and we're lowering. Push away through the sole of the foot. Find that engagement through your right glute, outer hip. And imagine that your right leg was lifting from your right ankle bone. There you go, nice. Slow it down. Breathe. And then lower that right leg. Once again, bring that knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze, maybe using your hand. And then again, bring the legs to stack with the knees bent. And we're opening up again. Right knee towards the ceiling. And back down. And again, see if you can keep that back body onto that imaginary wall behind you. And see if you can feel that there is work happening through your outer right hip, right glute. And then slow things down. Extra slow. How slow could you go here? And maybe you even find a pause at the top with the knee lifted, feeling that squeeze through that right glute. And then lower slowly. Feel that that area stretches a bit. And again. And then the next time that the knees are stacked, bring that right knee again into your chest. And then we'll extend again that right leg. Maybe try with your toes pointing away from you. Again, back body is on that imaginary wall. Try to keep it there and find your circles. Slow things down. And Imagine that you were drawing a circle on the wall with your toe, big toe. And then as you're ready, switch direction. And stay stable through the rest of the body. It's not only just about that right leg, but notice what's happening in the rest of you. And then bring that leg back through center, draw the knee into your chest, nice stretch for that right glute, outer hip. And then from here, come all the way onto your back, so just roll onto your back. Draw then both knees into your chest, one hand onto each knee, and then find separate circles with your knees. And then switch direction. And then bring the knees back through center, plant your left foot, bring your right knee into your chest, your hands behind that right knee or right thigh, and then bend and straighten through your right leg a few times. And then the next time that your knee is bent, keep your foot flexed and cross the ankle just over the left thigh for a reclined figure four. Send your right knee away from you. Pause here for a moment and find some work here, some resistance between your right ankle pushing into your left thigh and the left thigh pushing back into the ankle for a breath in and a breath out. And then your arms could come out into a T or maybe cactus arms, and we're going to drop the legs, this figure four, towards the left side. And then we're going to bring this figure four back through center, and then we're going to drop it towards the right side. And then come back through center, figure four towards the left. So you're kind of planting your right foot. And then back through center, and as you take it to the right, you're kind of planting your right thigh or towards that. And then try it one more time each side, to the left and to the right. And then bring yourself back through center, slide your right thigh all the way over the left, and then draw the knees into your chest. So you might lift the feet. You might use your hands coming behind your thighs as you hug them in. And then give yourself a little rocking, lifting and lowering your sacrum if that feels good. And then bring the sacrum back down. And then from here, see if you can bring, so keeping your thighs crossed, bring your feet as close together as you can. And then bring your feet as far apart as you can, keeping your thighs in the same position. And then see if you can find that again. Feet come close together, and then feet move apart. Nice, nice. One more time. Close together, and take them away from one another. And then from here on, cross the legs, plant your feet. We're going into a few gentle bridge poses. So heels more or less on the knees, your hands by your side. When you're ready, inhale, lift your hips and take it as far as you'd like. See what feels right. And on your exhale, lower your hips. And then do that again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And one more. Inhale, lift. And exhale to lower. We'll bring the left knee into the chest this time. Give it a squeeze. And then your hands behind that left thigh as you bend and straighten your left knee a few times. Getting into the back of the leg, just noticing maybe a stretch through the hamstring. And press the left side of your sacrum towards the ground. And then the next time that your knee is bent, cross your left ankle just over your right thigh and find your figure 4 here. You're sending your left knee away from you, so there's some work coming all the way from your left hip, left glute. And then you're pushing your left ankle into your right thigh, and then your right thigh is pushing back into your ankle. So find that little kind of resistance or little argument. And then when you're ready, we'll take that twist from side to side. So anything that works for your arms. And then we're going to drop this figure 4 towards the right side. So your left foot might come all the way to the ground, or it might not. And then come back through center, and then take it over to the other side. So your left thigh might come to the ground. And then back and forth a few times at your own pace. And even as you do this, can there still be that argument between ankle and thigh, or at least some action there? And the next time that your figure 4 comes back up, we're going to cross that left thigh all the way over the right. And we're going to bring those knees into the chest. So again, your feet lift, your hands maybe wrap around your thighs. Maybe you rock up and down a bit, lifting and lowering that sacrum if that feels good. And then planting that sacrum, again, bring the feet as close together as you can, keeping your thighs in the same position, still crossed. And then take your feet apart from one another. And then do that a few more times. And notice how that feels. And then eventually uncross the legs, plant your feet, and again we're coming into a bridge pose, arms by your side. Maybe you scoot your shoulder blades a bit closer together, and hips lift, and hips lower. And a few more. And then we'll meet with the hips back down, bring both knees into your chest, and we're making our way up to stand. So if it feels good today, you rock up and down a few times. Maybe get a little rhythm going, some momentum, and maybe eventually your feet plant and you come all the way up to stand. Take your time, no rush to get there. Once you find your standing, we'll find mountain pose, and you can find a bit of movement on the soles of the feet, shifting your weight forward and back. And then find that grounding, let your shoulders move away from your ears, turn your palms to face forward, give your fingers a wiggle. See if the crown of the head can reach just a little higher. And take a breath in and take a breath out. With your next inhale, sweep your arms wide and up. And on your exhale, a side bend to the right. Inhale, come back through center, and a side bend left. Inhale, back through center, again to the right side, pausing here for a moment. Maybe finding extra space in this left side, maybe some space in the left side of your chest. And if there's, some movement in the neck available, maybe the gaze goes up. And then take an inhale to come back through center, and let's do that on the other side. Left hand down, maybe walking down that left leg, finding that space right side. And try not to collapse into that lower back. So see what you need here. what little adjustments you can make, but maybe there's a bit more space in the right side of your chest and maybe some space for the head to turn up. And then as you inhale, return through center, interlace your fingers overhead, palms towards the ceiling, whole body stretch, push the floor away. And then with your next breath out, arms can go wide, a nice bend in the knees as we fold over the legs. On your inhale, hands to your shins, halfway lift. As you exhale, we fold. 2 more of those. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. And another one, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. With your next inhale, bend the knees and rise into chair. And on your exhale, bring hands to your heart. Lift the right heel, coming onto the ball of the foot. And then lower it. Lift the left heel. And lower. Another one, right. Lower. And left. And lower. Push the floor away, straighten legs and arms. On your exhale, side bend. Come back through center to the other side. Come back through center, forward fold. Halfway lift, fold. Back into chair, inhale. And hands to heart, exhale. Lift your left heel. Lower. The right. Lower. Maybe that same thing again, or maybe both heels. Breath in. Out. Another inhale. Exhale, both heels meet the ground. Straighten legs, reach your arms tall. Side bend, exhale. Inhale, center. Other side, exhale. Inhale, center. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. And plant your hands and step it back to downward facing dog, exhale. In your down dog, move a bit. Walk with your feet, legs. And then pause that. We'll use the inhale to come out into a plank pose. And exhale to move back into down dog. 2 more at your own pace. We're meeting in downward facing dog, walking the hands towards the feet. And on the exhale, folding. Inhale into chair. And exhale, bringing hands to heart. Inhale, rising all the way up. Exhale for a side bend. Inhale, center. And to the other side. Inhale, center, and we fold. Inhale, walk your hands forward, plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale again, plank. Exhale to down dog. And inhale, plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. With your next inhale, lift your heels. And on your exhale, lower your knees, table pose. Bring the hands under your shoulders. As you inhale, take a cow pose. On your exhale, cat. Inhale again, cow. Exhale, cat. Another one. Find your neutral spine. Extend your left leg out behind you. Breath in. On your exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, left elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right elbow. Inhale, lengthen, side plank, pivot on your right knee, open to the left. All right, so here we're going to find again a bit of work through that left outer hip. So Left hand could rest on your left hip. And then we're going to lift and lower that left leg and invite some internal rotation through it. So kind of dropping a little bit more your big toe with your foot flex. So lifting and lowering. See if you can keep your chest broad as you do this. And don't worry about how high the leg lifts, but about controlling the movement and staying stable through the rest of the body as best you can. Couple more breaths. All right, and then from here, returning to your table pose, hands and knees. Take an inhale, cow. And then exhale into cat. Come onto your fingertips, walking your hands a bit closer to your knees, extra rounding through your spine. Dropping the head if that feels good. And take another breath. And then return onto your hands, come back to your table pose, and we're going to find that on the other side. So your right leg is going to extend. On your exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to left elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Find that pivot through the left leg as you open up into your side plank to the right. And take a breath here first, expand, and then on your exhale you might bring the right hand to the right hip, and then you'll find that movement through your right leg, lifting and lowering, doing your best to keep the rest of the body in the same position, your chest broad, shoulders stacked one over the other. And then try not to let your bum kind of push back. So think about pushing your hips in line with your torso. Give it a go, a few more. Your own pace here. You can always take a little break. And then when you're ready, return to your table pose. Take an inhale, cow. On your exhale, tuck your toes and a downward facing dog. See if you can use this down dog now to find extra stretch through the glutes, the back of your hips. Extra stretch here in the shoulders, push the floor away, heavy through your heels, and drop the head, relax through your neck. Another breath in. And another breath out. With your next inhale, walk your feet to your hands. And on your exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, rising all the way up. Grab a hold of your left wrist and take it over to the right side. Inhale back through center and switch. Left hand, right wrist over to the left. Inhale back through center, sweep your arms wide and bring them behind you, interlace them. Send the knuckles towards the floor. Now invite space in the fronts of your shoulders and your chest and feel your shoulder blades squeeze. Think about your elbows coming a bit closer. Another breath in. And out. And then as you inhale, sweep your arms wide and up. And exhale, warrior two, left foot stepping back. As you extend your arms, look over your right fingers. Find a little bend and straightening through that front knee. And then keep that front knee bent as you find reverse warrior. Right palm faces up and back. And then your side angle. Moving through that 2 more times. Breathing in. And breathing out. And another breath in. And breath out. And then as you inhale, come back through center, straighten your right knee, and then pivot on your right heel to turn towards the side. So wide leg stance. You might shorten your stance some. We're going to come into some side lunges. Let's do it from a forward fold. So hands can come to your hips, take a full breath in, lengthen. And then on your exhale, hinge, hips forward and down. Release your hands. If you have a block, a stool like we did on Monday, or a chair, you could bring your hands onto that. Or maybe you're on your fingertips on the ground. And then turn your toes slightly out, maybe 45 degrees or a little less. And then we're going to bend into the right knee as we send that right sit bone towards the right heel. See if you can keep your left foot planted as you do this. And then return through center. And then bend into your left knee, left sit bone, any amount towards that left heel. So and moving in that direction as you keep your right foot planted. And then again, come back through center, bend into your right knee, and straighten, and center, bend into your left. And then come back through center, parallel your feet or slightly pigeon toe, and fold over your legs. Drop the head. You could hold on to opposite elbows, and really relax the torso now. Full inhale. And open mouth, exhale. With your next breath in, hands to your hips, unroll your spine as you rise all the way up. And then find your warrior two again to the front of the mat, bending into that front knee, extending your arms, looking over your right fingers. Take a breath in. And on your exhale, hands to the mat, and take it back into a downward facing dog. Push the floor away, drop the head, heavy through your heels, maybe even lifting your toes. And then use your next inhale to walk your feet to your hands. Top of the mat, forward fold, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. And hands to heart, exhale. Straighten legs and arms, inhale, grab a hold of your right wrist with your left hand, take it over towards the left side. If you'd like, sweep your right leg behind you, coming onto the pinky edge of the foot as you find that extra space in the right side body. A little balancey, so just be aware of that. And then when you're ready, come back through center, switch the wrist, take it over towards the right, and then maybe that left leg sweeps behind, coming onto the pinky edge as you find that extra space in the left side body. And then returning through center, exhale, just let your arms relax down by your side. We're going to find those warrior twos on the other side in a moment. Give your shoulders a roll, maybe your fingers a wiggle. And then when you're ready, inhale, reach your arms up. On your exhale, right foot this time steps back, warrior two. Land, extend those arms, look over those left fingers. Try to relax the shoulders away from your ears. And then bend and straighten a few times your left knee. And then keep it bent, turn your left palm up and back, reverse. On your exhale, side angle. And two more at your own rhythm. And see if you can make this feel good. And then we'll meet back up, straightening that left leg and pivoting on that left heel. Parallel your feet, maybe shorten your stance, hands to your hips. Take a breath in to lengthen. And on your exhale, hinge forward and down. Releasing those hands, maybe once again onto a surface, block, something a bit higher, maybe onto your fingertips. We're going to come back to those low lunges, but then I'll offer you an option to lift the torso if you didn't try it already. So when you're ready, bend into your right knee and then straighten. And then focus on doing this from the strength in your legs. So that might mean still your hands on something, but maybe less weight into your arms, more weight into your legs. And as you begin to feel that, maybe you can take your hands away from that surface as you keep doing this movement from side to side. Maybe eventually the torso lifts and you're doing this with your torso upright. But just see how it feels. And use the strength in your legs, especially when you're coming back up. Feel the leg that straightens, it's pushing the floor away. Let's see if you can notice that work there. Nice job. And when you've had enough, come back through center. If you're already upright, great. Stay there, make your way into warrior two. If you were folded, bring yourself up with your torso. And then pivot on your left heel again. Your toes are pointing away from you. Extend your arms, warrior two. Take a breath in. And then on your exhale, hands to the mat and downward facing dog. Full inhale and a full exhale. Another one. With your next inhale, come out into a plank pose. And on your exhale, we're lowering down. So maybe your knees come down first, your elbows bend back, your chest is going forward. Think forward first and down after. And then come onto your right side body. Your knees bent, your legs stacked, just like we started. Again, that imaginary wall behind you, get your sacrum, your shoulder blades. Imagine taking them onto that wall. Even your lower ribs, see if you can draw them back or in slightly so that you're not flaring forward and arch through your lower back. You're a bit more contained. You're using kind of the center body to contain in. Big toe side of the feet stays touching. And when you're ready, lift through that left knee and lower. And again, lift and lower. And a few times, you might even just notice if there's any difference between this movement now versus at the beginning of practice, or maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And then return that left knee down, maybe bring it into your chest for a squeeze. And then extend the leg all the way out. Toes are drawing towards the shin, maybe a little internal rotation, and then lift and lower. Nice, nice job. Keep pushing away through the foot. And then lower that leg. Once again, bring it into the chest. Give it a squeeze. And then again, big toes touch. Knee up and down. Come back to your breath. And then extend that left leg, point through the toes and find some circles in one direction. And then in the other, drawing those circles on the wall. And then pause that. And this time, see if you can draw the heel of the foot towards your glute. And maybe you grab the ankle with your hand, your left hand, and you draw that heel in a little bit more to give the front of your hip a stretch, the left quad a bit more of a stretch. And then release that, and let's take it all to the other side. So you might just kind of roll over or switch direction, but you'll be lying on your left side, stacking the legs. And then once you've got your knees bent, big toe side touching, right knee up, right knee down. And again, try not to let your hips kind of roll back and forth. So your hips stay in place, and it's just your right leg lifting and lowering. So the work here is not only the work through that outer hip glute, but that stability through the center of the body. So don't overlook that. That's key, that's important. And then that knee can come back in towards the chest, give it a squeeze. And then extend that right leg, flex through the foot, and then lift and lower a few times. Try not to go through the motions. Feel. I would rather do fewer movements, but really intentional, present, rather than a lot kind of checking out. And then again, you could bring that knee into your chest, give it a squeeze, big toes touch, and right knee towards the ceiling, and down. Breathing here. And last one, maybe another squeeze of the knee in. And then extending that right leg, point the toes away from you and draw those circles on the wall. Can you be super precise and always kind of draw over the same line? Imagine you could do that. And then over the same line in the opposite direction. Nice. And then from here, lowering the leg, if it feels good, bend the knee, draw the heel towards the glute, and maybe use your right hand to draw it a little further, and find that extra stretch through the front of the hip if that feels good. And take a breath. And then release it. Roll onto your back. Bring the knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And let's go into a happy baby. So draw those knees towards your armpits. They're going wide. And then your hands could stay behind your knees. Let your feet be floppy. And take a moment here, grounding through your sacrum, your shoulder blades. Maybe you can find a bit more space in the back of your neck. And then maybe keeping that back body as is, lifting the feet towards the ceiling, and maybe your hands walk towards your feet, towards your ankles or soles of the feet. A full breath in and out. And release your happy baby. Plant your feet wide with your knees bent, and then drop your knees towards the left side. Think about your right knee being heavy towards the ground, and if there is a space and it feels right, you could even bring your left foot on top of that right knee and use the weight of your left foot to add that extra bit of stretch. Going all the way up your quad, your right hip. I'm beginning to emphasize now a little bit more of the release and the help of gravity. So now letting go of some of that effort. And here some open mouth exhales might help. And then when you're ready, bring your knees back through center. Your feet are still wide. And then drop your knees towards the right side. You're letting your left knee be heavy. And if it feels, if you feel like a bit more stretch, a bit more intense stretch, you might bring your right foot on top of that left knee. And just the weight of your right foot just adds that extra bit of sensation. And just make sure that the knee is happy with this. There definitely shouldn't be any pain in the knees. Now you can come back to those open mouth exhales. And as you begin to let go, notice parts of the body that might be still holding on. And as you notice that, be nice to those parts. Maybe offer some softening, some release, some exhales, and calming, relaxing. And then when you're ready, bring yourself back through center. Allow your knees to rest against one another and just reset your back body. So there might be a little lift of your hips to lengthen through your lower back. Get your sacrum again well planted. You might shuffle a little bit through your shoulders, getting your shoulder blades well planted. You might find that you can send the back of the head just a little further back. The chin might draw a bit more towards your chest. Your hands might rest on your torso for a couple breaths. Noticing that as you inhale, there is that expansion through your torso. And as you exhale, it's that softening, that return of that front body towards the ground. Now we're making our way into Shavasana. If you're feeling settled, go straight there. If you feel like there's any other tweaks to your position to make yourself more comfortable, more settled, make sure that you get those in. And then, of course, in Shavasana, you could be lying down. You could find a different shape on your side, a seat. Your eyes can close. And for the next few minutes, there is nothing else to do. Give yourself that opportunity to just be and see what that might be like. Shavasana. And feel free to take a longer Shavasana if that's available. If not, return your attention to your breathing and notice the movement happening there. And then you might make it a bit more obvious and then move a bit more into the rest of your body. And taking your time, small movements, bigger ones. Eventually we'll find a seat and we'll meet there. You might rest your hands in your lap or bring them to your chest. You might stay with your eyes closed for just a moment longer. Invite some space in the forehead, between the eyebrows, between your eyelids and your eyeballs. And some space between the upper and lower teeth, the tongue and the roof of the mouth. And then we'll take this moment to acknowledge the practice itself, to acknowledge and appreciate ourselves, our own practice, to appreciate all those who have practiced with us, and to appreciate all those who make it possible. We end with a word that means that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.